When it comes to driving automotive innovation forward, it wouldn't be possible without powerful chips. So here today to talk about what Qualcomm is doing in the automotive space is Nakul Duggal. He's SVP and General Manager of Automotive at Qualcomm. Nakul, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So what exactly is Qualcomm's strategy with automotive? It's a very complex industry, and there's a lot of innovations going on with chips in so many different ways.
I think automotive has actually given us the opportunity to really look at ourselves and see what transformation is possible because this industry is going through so much of change. The pace at which technology is being embraced, the pace at which cars are moving from combustion engines to electrification, and all of this is happening at the same time, creates a massive opportunity to really rethink what the car as a platform is. One of the things that we are fascinated by is that automakers want to build a very close, very proximate relationship with their consumers. That means understanding what does the consumer do during their day, during the life of the vehicle that they own, what's the second life of the vehicle. All of these aspects require a very good understanding of not only how you build chips, but what are they going to be used for? What do you need them to do over the life of that platform? What type of software is going to run on them? Who's going to provide that software? Who will support that software? So as we have really spent the time over the last decade or so in sitting down with automakers, understanding what they are thinking, living in their shoes, it has helped us understand how do we need to be thinking about what role we would play. It is a market that is going to take time to evolve, time to change, but I feel like the pace at which this industry is moving is really fascinating. Tremendous amount of opportunity.
And this may be oversimplifying it, but would you say that the emphasis is on advanced driving systems, with assistance and self-driving, or on the infotainment sort of side?
I think the way I think to think about it is that the focus is on making the platform much more modern. It's a cost sensitive product. So you have to be able to figure out how do you make it modern, but integrate a lot of that modernization into capability that is much more performant. So that's where we come in. We build very complex, very high performance chips, and we provide a tremendous amount of software that allow you to be able to use those chips. Now, what you use those chips for clearly is to be able to create a brand new experience, infotainment, cockpit systems, is to be able to provide much safer solutions, driver assistance, automated driving. And that's the gradient over which the technology will evolve, the features will evolve. But fundamentally, what it really comes down to is how do you build a roadmap for automakers where they look to us? We've coined the term the Snapdragon digital chassis, which for us is this is the family, this is the portfolio of products and software and services that we are building, where as we engage with our customers on this, we become part of the generation that they have to embrace and then evolve on as they start to think about their products. So the relationships that we have are 10, 12, 15 years per generation of family that we engage in. That's the big shift. That's the big change that's going on.
So if this is really, looking to be the entire brains of the car, how is Qualcomm competing in this space with others like NVIDIA who are looking to do the same?
We are a unique company in the sense that we have been a smartphone and mobile leader for a very long period of time. We have been a wireless innovator for multiple decades. That's what the company's foundation was. We are a creator of ecosystems. We are a global company. We are excellent at supporting products that live in the edge. We understand power. We understand cost sensitivities. We understand scalability. We develop a tremendous amount of core technology that is needed to be able to power our chips. So when you have all of those capabilities in your stable, and you have to think about how do you apply them to a market like a car is really, at the end of the day, something that needs a lot of those capabilities, but for a different type of product segment. So I think we are actually quite unique in that I don't think there are many companies like us, perhaps very uniquely positioned to really be able to address this very broad set of needs, requirements, possibilities that automakers have to be able to go deal with. And where do they go to get all of this under one umbrella? That's kind of the strategy. The next thing that we've then done is we've picked specific areas where we feel like we need to do more than chips and software. We need to be able to get into developing a computer vision stack, developing a driving stack. How do we go do that? Well, we partner. We acquire capability that we don't have. We partner very closely with customers. So the BMW partnership that we announced recently after we acquired Arriver from Veoneer was an example of where we are actually doubling down on the automotive industry in the areas of automated driving. We are not going to do that by ourselves. We're going to have partners to go do that. So it requires many different muscles to be exercised to be relevant in the space. I think we have competitors in specific segments, but more and more what we are realizing is that this game has to be played where you have to occupy a very wide berth, because the relationship has to be much broader than just one very specific domain that you're competing in.
It seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's sort of an all-in-one, all or nothing type of offering versus sort of, the automaker having the option of cobbling together with different partners. What do you think about that?
The automaker always has the option of selecting exactly what they want from us. And what was realized very early when we were looking at this business is that you need to build credibility and trust with customers like automakers, because the decisions that they make are not easily reversible. So they're very careful about making sure that they have understood who you are, what's your level of commitment, what's your DNA, where you come from, what's your level of support. And the model that we have adapted is we are still relatively new in this space. We need to work with the automotive community because there is a lot of history, there is a lot of learning. And so we have to partner very openly and be very flexible where it makes sense. We obviously make sensible decisions in terms of what we end up providing ourselves versus where we partner. But the idea always is to be able to make sure that the platform is open. We allow our partners to innovate on top of our platforms. And we are very open with our customers in terms of what part of our portfolio they want to use. Obviously, the more broadly we are engaged, the more we are able to be effective. But we are also very precise about understanding the needs of the customer and providing them exactly what they want.
What do these systems look like from a pricing standpoint, and how do you see that evolving over time?
Well, I mean, it's a price sensitive part of the ecosystem, so you always have to be very competitive. One advantage that we have is that we are able to bring a tremendous amount of integration value when we build our products, and that integration value then manifests itself in terms of us capturing more value because we are creating savings. The other area I think that we are seeing a lot of interest in is software. How do you monetize software? How do you start to build services on all the software platforms that we are building? So, very interesting opportunities to differentiate how we are set up in terms of taking advantage of everything that automotive brings in terms of the possibilities.
Qualcomm has its hands in a lot of different areas. What role is automotive playing in the larger business?
In terms of revenues, we are still fairly small in terms of Qualcomm's total revenues. But what I would say is, from a diversification perspective, I think automotive has become the poster child for what the capabilities of the company are. And as we address opportunities like automotive and transportation and mobility, how do we bring together those capabilities into the digital chassis that we have now developed, and how do you build a sustainable model where you can engage with a very complex ecosystem of partners, of customers, of suppliers that can keep growing, that can keep evolving as that industry evolves. And that part, I think, is a good example of how we are diversifying not just the products that we build, but also the business that we are building.
Yeah, and when it comes to Qualcomm's automotive business, what should investors be thinking about?
Well, I think it's a very good example of how a company like Qualcomm, that has traditionally been known for mobile and for semiconductors in mobile, has a lot of capabilities when it comes to diversifying away into a brand new vertical, and really switch it up, bring in a lot of new product, new software, new talent, make the right acquisitions. And it's a sign of the fact that not only is diversification important, but we are successfully diversifying into brand new opportunities.
And you mentioned acquisitions. Is there an active search for something that could really add to the business?
Yeah, I think what automotive has, and broadly, I think a number of other segments that are going through digital transformation are showing us is that there is clearly a need. There are many needs in terms of horizontal players coming in and providing capabilities that are needed across multiple ecosystems. So the way that we approach our acquisition strategy is to either really acquire, focus on technologies that we need or talent and business models that we need that will further our overall strategy. The acquisitions are very much done with a lot of conversations with customers, with partners, understanding their long-term vision, understanding how they look at us fitting into that vision, and then stepping forth.
What would you say is Qualcomm's most important strategic initiative with automotive in 2023, and what's your top priority?
I think we've been very successful in 22. We have a large book of business that we have to execute to. So execution is certainly number one priority. And then within that, we are growing massively in the driver assistance and automated driving space. We're building a lot of software, building a lot of chips. So that is certainly going to keep us very busy. I think the other area, obviously, is the opportunities continue to, outpace the rate at which we can keep up with them. But I think inorganic growth, getting into more M&A, bringing in the right talent. I think that's the other area of focus.
Well, it was such a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for all of the information.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Investors Business Daily on YouTube. If you want to watch more videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.